Come on.
Happy Football Sunday. Welcome to week 16, guys. This is a Sunday Tailgate. I'm your host, Stacy, and I'm joined by the head nerd himself. We got Nerdboi over here. Mike, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing pretty well. I know that we were talking backstage. You know, I tore my rotator cuff, almost a month ago now. And it's been this is my first pod that I've done since that happened, actually. But I've been struggling a little bit with that. I don't do the medication stuff. I don't do anything. I luckily live in a state where I can self-medicate. And that's what I've been doing, edibles and such. And it's been trial and error, as I was telling you. I'm learning that I can only take a little bit or I'm gonna not fall asleep. And I'm just here, baby. Let's do it.
Dude, it's that stuff is brutal, and there's no real way. My mom had knee surgery a few weeks ago, and she dealt with a lot of that stuff too. And it's so hard,
Yeah, it's hard because man, I haven't taken edibles in a long time. So now that I am, this is my life now, I'm fully buzzing at 9:00 in the morning. So let's go.
Good. Well, hey, then we're definitely going to have a good show for you guys. We're going to be doing starts and sits for your week 16 matchups for those fantasy playoffs. We already got some good questions in the chat. We got KB over here, who's making me feel like I'm Tom Brady, talking to Kevin Burkhardt there in the studio, where he's always like, great question, KB. I love that so much. But yeah, we're going to be getting to those, talking some injury updates. Maddox is going to be coming in, bringing you his Monday Night Football picks. We even have some DFS picks for you, bringing that back a little bit today. We'll see if mine continue to be wrong. Who knows? But yeah, we got a lot to get to.
I think that all the viewers probably have figured it out by now, is that you go against Stacy and you go against Maddox too. So both of them, it's actually a productive situation. So you full fade and go opposite. And it's like foolproof magic is what I'm calling it right now.
Oh, yeah. You just have to go the opposite. I'm looking at his picks so far this year, and he was like way off the rails the beginning of the season. He's gotten slightly better. I'm going to have numbers for us next week. How many he's gotten right, how many he's gotten wrong. We'll figure that out. But guys, we are also on TikTok live this morning. So if you are on TikTok and watching and you want to get some questions in, come on over to our YouTube. You can find us over on the Player Profiler Now YouTube. We are going to be live there. So you can jump in the comments there and get your questions in for week 16. Rant real quick, sidetrack before we get started. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Packer fan. Rocking my little Green Bay Sunday Tailgate shirt here. We got to talk about that Packers-Bears game. I'm not going to be a coward. I'm not going to not talk about it today. I woke up this morning to numerous texts from my Bears friends, just talking so much shit. And here's a few things. Boo. Thank you. Boo to the Bears. I hope that was right. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's to the Bears. Yeah.
Bears. Boo to the Bears.
Mean, they're just a little over their skis right now. I know that they haven't found success in a long time, but man, just pump the brakes a little bit. Like, I get it. You want to be happy. You've had the first good team that in the last, when have the Bears been good? I think that
it's been a long time, years.
Yeah. I guess
the Cutler, were they good with the Cutler era? Is
that good like
what we're talking about?
Good like the Indianapolis Colts are good with Daniel Jones. Like, feels like they're fine, but never going to be something kind of thing,
Yeah. Thank you. I saw a picture of DJ Moore wearing a cheese grater hat in the locker room. Here's what I have to say for you, DJ Moore, and for the rest of the Bears there. You guys had more penalties than almost any other team in the league so far this season, other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. You had 10 penalties last night. You're averaging 9 penalties a game. You had at least 3 before I could even sit down with my pizza last night for this game. You got some guy jumping on top of everybody trying to crowd surf. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that was absolutely nuts. And then you could only score 9 points before you literally got lucked into an onside kick that was recovered, which our friend Drew Davenport posted this morning was like literally a 4% chance that that was actually even going to go your way. And then you just lucked into Caleb Williams throwing it down the field, and DJ Moore, who's God knows where he's been all season, just happens to be down there. All right. And you beat us without Micah Parsons and Evan Williams. Our quarterback gets a concussion and leaves. And so calm down, just simmer down a little bit there. All right. Calm down a little bit. But you know what, though, Mike, I will tell you, I like this rivalry when both teams are good. It's way more fun. That was a fun game. Even though we lost, I will take the split with the Bears. You know, like you guys just simmer down a little bit there. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, the world is hearing. I mean, I don't have bias to either one of these teams, but like the cheese grater hat is S tier trolling, by the way.
Yeah.
Like it is, I'm sorry, you can't hate that. I have to.
It is really funny.
You have to respect that. No, but I love it. Like the world feels like it's healing, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a New England fan. I'm out here in New England town, but you know, having the Patriots and the Bills is like the same thing where like they're both relevant for once, you know, even though the Bills have never done anything. And I could probably do a similar rant with what you just did, but I'm not going to I'm not going on my soapbox right now.
All right. So speaking of the Patriots, Mike, I want to know what has been your favorite treat from Ann Michael May's Bake Miss?
Man, I'm going to say the protein balls. I think that just like fits I'm not a sweets guy. I'm not somebody that's just going to be like, all right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good chocolate chip cookie, but I want something coming from it. I want you to like make me a cookie that has, you know, some macros in it, like sprinkle some creatine in there or something. You know, I need some gains somehow from these things. But yeah, it's probably the protein balls that like is something that, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at them right now. And there's a lot that I probably could go with, but I've honestly, before I read the show sheet, I forgot she was doing this. You know, it's so wholesome. And so I just like, I love that everybody is nice to her too. I think the biggest worry that I have is like when wives are jumping on social media, they're just going to like, I don't know, like awful fan bases are going to come in but it's been so sweet to just see her have the following that she does. And it is, the wholesomeness of this is something that I haven't seen even when Brady was around, like, she, you know, she wasn't like doing any social media gifts. So this is just first time for me as a fan.
Could you imagine Giselle like doing the Bake Miss days? No,
I mean, honestly, the vibes are so different in a good way. Like Giselle I just felt like she was very judgmental. I don't know. Like, no, I don't know her personally at all, but man, like stuffiness, you know, every social media experience with Giselle was like, oh, like, well, like he was looking at me funny.
Giselle actually, I think, just got remarried to her personal trainer, from what the internet tells me. I love what's going on now. I love Drake May. I love Ann Michael May. They're absolutely precious, and I do. Same with you. I hope it keeps up. I hope you guys are nice to her.
Yeah, be nice to her.
Yeah, so sweet. All right, guys. So enough about bake. If you have a favorite Bake Miss treat, throw that on in the chat. I would love to see what everyone else thinks. All right, guys. So we got some storylines going on today. Want to get through those. 11:30. Once that hits, we're going to get to all the, you know, breaking injury news that's coming out. But a couple things. We got Mustache Mania. Minshew Mania is back. I wish I could be as excited about it as I usually am when it's like this time of year and he makes his appearance. Taking over for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes obviously out for the rest of the season. With Rice, he's going to be out with a concussion today. We already know this. Do you feel good starting any Chiefs? Because I certainly don't.
I feel good starting Kelsey. I think that Kelsey's still going to get his. I think that tight ends in general are usually a safety blanket for first-time quarterbacks. And I expect a lot of dump offs, a lot of work in the middle of the field. So I think Kelsey, you can probably feel good about. Xavier Worthy it's like Jameson Williams his second year. Like you want to be able to start him because there's no other options, but at the same time, he needs an easy touchdown. He needs like a massive. I don't see that Quinn Ewers I'm getting mixed up. Minshew can do it. I just don't think that we're going to see it in this game. I think that it's going to be the Kelsey,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he can sustain two guys in an offense. I think that it's going to be, lo and behold, like we're looking at Minshew probably keeping Kelsey afloat and then maybe sneaking one in there for Worthy. But Worthy's got the floor of like a 4-point game or a 12-point game. I don't see like him having that boom monster game that, a lot of people I guess a lot of people had that idea when Rice was out earlier in the season that Worthy was going to slide in and just be this monster, but obviously that doesn't happen.
No. I was looking at his numbers. The last time, week 4 against Baltimore, he had a 17-point game. Everything beyond, and he hasn't even had 100 yards yet in a game this season.
Yeah.
So yikes, that's not great. Even against Tennessee, I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, I was a big Worthy guy through and through, but I think he's settling in as that boom bust, like that Mike Williams type of player where you can't really trust him even when he is the only option, when he is, lacking the elite playmakers in the field. Obviously with no Mahomes, it changes everything. But even then when Mahomes was in there, it was Worthy was either, a 0 or a 15-point guy. There's no in between for him.
No. Jeff has got a question. KB's got a question. Real quick, let's get to KB's QB question here. So he wants to know Saints, so Tyler Shuck or Aaron Rodgers. He's got Gibbs and JMO, was thinking about going full stack here. Detroit is playing the Steelers. Rodgers has a great record against them. I was going to get into that a little bit later. But Tyler Shuck has been pretty good for fantasy the last 3 games. I'm thinking I'm leaning Chuck. I mean, he's had 18 points the last 3 games, or at least 18 points the last 3 games. Rodgers has not so much. I think that's going to be more of a high scoring game, but I don't think that necessarily reflects that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a lot of fantasy points. I don't know, Mike, what do you think?
I want Rodgers. I think that Rodgers is going to have a good game. I think that we're looking at a shootout situation. I don't know. I think just Rodgers is going to have that opportunity. You're right. He has shown out in Detroit, and he has improved. I know that Shuck, he's been fine. Like he's been borderline the QB2 of this class. I think that I still got to go Rodgers though. I think that there's a lot of implications to this game. I think that we're looking at a more competitive game, and I think that we're going to obviously have a situation where Rodgers is going to have to throw.
Yeah, so I was looking at stats yesterday for him against Detroit. Obviously, a lot of games against Detroit back when he was a Packer. He has a passer rating of 105.1 with about 6,500 yards, 54 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in 26 games in his career against the Lions. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. And it's in Detroit. You like that. It's indoors. We love an indoor game in December. So, yeah. Well, I hope that's helpful, KB. Let's move on. Jeff has got a question for us. PPR start 1 running back, 1 flex. He's got London, Gainwell, Warren, Pitts, Worthy, we just talked about, and RJ Harvey. London is likely to play today, but it says they're going to ease him in, whatever that means. I don't know. It's hard not to pick Gainwell, right? I mean, he's been hot lately. I don't know. What do you think about these 3?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to start Gainwell or Jaylen Warren. I don't know if I want to split my hedges there. It's just kind of like I mean, I think Harvey is gonna have the volume. I think that we're probably looking at a game script that favors him. just because two elite defenses are going against each other. I think it's going to be a lot of ground and pound. I think these quarterbacks are going to struggle a little bit. So I think they're going to lean on Harvey a lot in this game. So I might go Harvey there. And then London coming back hurts Pitts, right? Like I think these two guys are going to cannibalize each other. We saw Kirk O'Chain's last game. Do we see Kirk O'Chain's this game? I don't know. I think that we saw a lot of the pre-Kirk O'Chain's cousins earlier in the season, so I don't know what to expect. The Cardinals, though, they're just so leaky, like it's a tough D. I think I want to go Harvey, and I know that London's getting eased in. I think I want to go London. I think it's hard to sit studs, man. It really is. Like all they need is one play. I feel like you got to live and die by these guys that you take in the first couple rounds for the most part, especially in a good matchup. I know he's coming off the injury, but I think that it'd be really hard to sit London in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. London was definitely the one for the flex that I was looking at. When you're talking about like Gainwell, Warren, even Harvey too against the Jags, like you're talking about them going against the number 1 and number 3 teams against the running back in fantasy that are giving up the fewest number of points. So you don't really love that at all. But I like Harvey there. There's not as much competition like there would be between Gainwell and Warren. They're going to split things a little more evenly. At least Harvey's kind of the one who's there. I mean, I know there's some other guys back there, but it's pretty much just him. So I like that. All right. Well, Jeff, I hope that helps. Guys, don't forget, get your questions on and we will get to those as they come in this morning here. What else we got on deck today? We've got Denver. They are clinching their division today with a win. And if the Chargers lose, Chargers are against Dallas. I don't, that game just seems like impossible to pick. Like there's no telling what could possibly happen with that. Broncos are the last remaining NFL team that's undefeated at home. I didn't realize that before today. I don't know. Do you think Denver's for real?
I think that defense is going to make any team for real. I think that obviously when the weather gets cold, you're going to rely on your defense more. They've had that stout elite defense the entire season. I think they're only getting stronger as the season goes on. So I think, they're for real. You have to take them seriously. I think Bo Nix is frustrating. He's probably, you don't know which Bo Nix you're going to get play to play, never mind game to game. But the defense is too good. The defense is good enough where Bo Nix can score 10 points and the defense is going to give up 9 points. Bo Nix could score 21 and the defense is only going to give up 20. They really bail him out quite a bit when it comes to, keeping the points at a level where Bo Nix can actually win games.
Yeah, I'm actually really, this is the one game that I'm weirdly enough looking forward to today because you also have the Jaguars that can clinch with a win, and then if the Colts or Texans lose, so you've got kind of a lot riding on this game, and I don't know. I think it'll be pretty. It's so weird to think a Denver Jags game would be something that we'd be looking forward to, but here we are.
Life comes at you fast, man. I mean, there's so many of these matchups that maybe even last year you were like, Chargers Dallas has a lot of spice to it. And games that you were like, oh, I would love to watch that. They have nothing, like I'm looking at like Cincy, Miami, like there's nothing there. And, once upon a time, that was a sexy matchup. That was fun to watch. So
right. Wasn't that the one that was flexed out? Didn't we have some games that were flexed out? I think since he was supposed to be like the night game tonight or something.
Yeah, I think that this game, the Patriots game got flexed in, and I think the KC game got flexed, or was the Cincy game got flexed out? I don't know. But I know they swapped the Patriots for Sunday night, and then I think it was the Cincy game that was supposed to be Sunday night.
Yeah. Well, oh, no, thank you. All right, so we got a couple other questions here. Coop wants to know, Coop Cooper, he's starting 1. This is a 1.5 PPR tight end with the 1 point for wide receiver. Okay, tight end premium. All right, now I'm reading that right. And then a 0.5 point for running back. So we've got Waller, Genty, Marks, and Diggs. I don't want anything to do with Genty this week. He's actually on my sit list. I don't
Yep.
want anything to do with that. No, thank you. I think we're still waiting on the word about Woody Marks, whether or not he's for real going to play. I saw that Nick Chubb is likely to be back today as well. Do you know anything about Diggs today? He's for sure going to go, right? We don't have any injury concerns.
Yeah, I mean, I like Diggs a lot this week,
Yeah.
actually. I think that, he's probably gonna get over 60 yards and a touchdown in this game. I just have him as one of my borderline starts this week. Everyone's in on Waller this week. You're
Yeah.
very much in on Waller. I think that everyone I talked to, I did a Q&A on Reddit actually yesterday, and everyone was asking me about Waller, and I was like, well, I mean, if everyone loves him, I kind of hate him, dude. I don't know. That's just how I'm built.
He
You
just want to be
know,
contrary.
I want to fade him because of the love that he's getting this week. And Quinn Ewers is Quinn Ewers. I don't know. I think he has more juice than Tua right now. And
Yeah.
I think it's not even the skill set, it's the mental makeup. I think that Tua is absolutely broken,
Yeah.
So I think that yours might actually be a plus situation going on when you're taking him out of, I guess, man, I think I'm going to go Diggs. I think it's Diggs or Marks for me. I think that Chubb being fully healthy probably moves it to Diggs personally.
Yeah, I like that. If you're starting one, I like Diggs today. With the Waller thing, I think it's hard to pass up putting a tight end in against Cincinnati just because of how, they've been giving up points to the tight end on just like an outrageous level all year. But yeah, the thing with Ewers, I don't know. We don't know what's going on there. And it's Waller, right? I mean, like he's really only useful once he gets in the end zone. Like you're just hoping for those touchdowns. I think he has like 42 yards or something like that total on the season. So he's not going to be getting, you points that way. But I think he's more of a fun like DFS thing, like desperation, maybe slide him in there. But I don't know that I have him in my start he's one of my starts for sure. But out of these four, I couldn't say that I could still take him over a Diggs.
Yeah, like I don't see any tight end premium on this, unless I'm missing it. But I think that
is that what he said here with a 1.5 PPR tight end? Is that Coop?
I don't know
Is
if
that what
that's
you're
just
meaning? I'm not sure.
one. I don't know. I don't know how that's. I think that's just PPR in general, right? Or if that's just specific to the tight end.
But still, though, like without him getting those receptions and just being in the end zone, I don't know that it really makes that much of a difference then for that particular tight end in Waller.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that, we're looking at a game that has some implications here. I think that Patriots, can they clinch the division with this win, or can they?
Let's see.
I think they're pretty close to clinching the division. I think they could have did it last week. I don't know if they can do it this week. Either way, obviously the Ravens are fighting for a playoff game. I think that this is just a spicy matchup for Diggs. I think that he's probably looking at prime time, trying to show out for the team.
Well, I think too, he oh gosh, I thought I saw it. He's got some contract numbers to hit in order to get some guarantees, I think, today. Also, I just found this. So according to Yahoo, it said because of the loss to the Bills, they can't clinch the division today, but they can clinch their playoff spot this weekend.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. With a win or a tie against Baltimore, they're in the playoffs. I mean, I don't think we were worried about that. They're definitely in the playoffs. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Coop says yes, it is tight end premium. Coop,
Yeah,
I
think
still
I'm
don't
still going Diggs.
Yeah, still Diggs. If he was like a guy, maybe like a Bretton Strange, somebody who's not like tight end, not tight end. Waller's just tight end, or there I go again, touchdown dependent. So yeah, Coop, we're going Diggs with that one. Place to be. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. He's got a question here. Wants to know, it's a QB question. We got JJ McCarthy. Who would have thought we'd be talking about starting JJ McCarthy, but looks like he's kind of back. Or Bryce Young against the Bucks today. That's going to be I don't know if it's going to be a good game or not, but it's got a lot of implications there for sure. I kind of like Bryce Young
Oh, yeah, I
against the
like
Bucks.
Bryce Young here too. I think that,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that there's a lot going on there. You rarely get two Bryce Young games back to back, but you never get a good JJ McCarthy game. I mean, like 2 weeks.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, do we like it's the
Minnesota's
Giants,
at the
huh?
Giant. That's I don't hate that matchup,
I don't either.
but I think I like the matchup against the Bucks a little bit better. Bucks are giving up the second most quarterback points behind the Cowboys. I
Yeah, and
kind of love
Baker's going to be throwing. I think that this just
that.
the game script is going to be in the favor of Bryce. So I'm going Bryce.
Yeah, and I think he's, a little bit more you can feel a little bit better this season about, relying on Bryce Young. Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at the last. So this is their first matchup against the Bucks, by the way. They play them again in week 18. But I mean, he's done really well. He's throwing a lot. Like I feel good about Bryce Young here today. What's the over under on that game? I'm gonna take a look. Bucks. There we go. 45.5. I mean, it's one of the highest on the day. So yeah, Vegas is never wrong, right?
Oh, yeah, well, you know what? I didn't need to see it. But yeah, let's definitely lock in Bryce Young. I I'm a big JJ McCarthy guy. And I have gone up and down with him all season long. And I think that everything that we're looking at from a negative standpoint is mental stuff. It's a mental
Mhm.
makeup thing that he has. So it's like I think that the momentum is going, it's shifting, obviously. The last couple games, obviously he makes these mistakes, but we haven't seen him like spiral out of
Yeah.
control with these mistakes, like we have in the past in the earlier season. So, but I need one more week of JJ McCarthy to show me that I'm
Yeah.
really gonna fire him up and feel confident about it, especially in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, because you have to. It's the playoffs, right? So this is either you win, you go home. Like this is it. If you win today, you're probably, hopefully you're going on to your championship. Hopefully you don't have a week 18 championship. Um, if you do, you need to talk to your commissioner about fixing that schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of it. So if we were in like week 4, week 5, different story. But I don't know, week 16, I need to see a little bit more, I think. Yeah. And Joe, Harvey, don't let me down. Yeah, seriously. I think there's a lot of people probably relying on RJ Harvey this week. Um, yeah. So I wanted to ask you, if you're a big JJ McCarthy fan, do you also have like an alter ego like name for yourself? Like when you get like in the zone that you like he does 9?
Oh, man, I mean, like, I'm so broken right now. I don't know if I have an alter ego. I don't think I need that. I think that at this point, I'm locked in at 24/7. So to like have a split personality to get locked in, no, man. I think when I was younger, so my dad's a mad dog, right? I grew up with like this nickname. I called him Mad Dog my entire life. I never called him Dad. It was just Mad Dog, right? So I've always been Mad Dog Jr. And that was something that has carried over my entire life. If it was going to be an alter ego, if it was a situation where I suddenly, got into the NFL at 38 years old, 39 years old, it would be Mad Dog. Yeah. And
Well,
but I don't know if I'm going to put myself out there as a meme though. I don't want that to be my last standing impression. What if JJ McCarthy just like died off, like
yeah.
Josh Rosen and like never came back?
Mhm.
Those memes would be the only thing keeping him alive in the fantasy world. And they would go on forever and ever and ever. But if he shows out and he does well, things go away, right? Like there's no way
Right.
you can be like JJ McCarthy, top 3 quarterback in the NFL. You can't pull out these memes again.
No.
So the only way to kill him is for him to be good.
He has to be good. Otherwise, he's going to be like selling insurance and people are going to be saying they bought their insurance from 9. I don't know. Yeah.
Selling insurance is a crazy fall off. Like there's there's people that are like trash men, like there's
Yeah.
people that are going from the NFL to, I got to look this up, but I saw this like this Reddit of what NFL players do after they retire.
That's
Because
where
it's like
I saw the same thing. Yeah.
these guys retire when
Mhm.
they're 32, 30 years old,
Yeah.
31, whatever. They like some of them are just like just turning 30. Guys that are running backs retire at 26, 27 years old. They just took a long time to get out of college at that point. It's like they're young people. People don't think about this. Like, what do you do after the NFL? It doesn't
Right.
go on forever.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You're so young too, and it's not like most of these guys are not gonna have the kind of money that you can just like retire and do whatever you want. Like you're probably gonna have to work,
Yeah. I mean,
unless you did some really good investing or something. But
yeah,
yeah.
these kids they're young. They're coming into millions and millions of dollars. They have no idea,
Mhm.
unless they have a good team behind them, how to set themselves up for the future. So
Yep. How are we feeling about Brissett today? We got
top
Marv
top
allegedly
three
back.
top three fantasy quarterback
Yeah.
today. Like
Yeah.
all
Agreed.
all around, you cannot sit Brissett. You are
No.
starting this guy all day. Like we're looking at the Falcons. Oh my God, a Brissett versus Kirk Cousins matchup. It is like 2011
Yeah.
all
Welcome to
over
week
again.
16.
No, I mean that's a stretch. Let's say 2017. Yeah.
He's thrown for ever since week 6, every single game with the exception of 2, he's thrown for over 40 times. Like, we love that.
Sometimes you just have these guys. They get put in these systems. Like
Yeah.
Darnold with KOC last year. There is systems where you find these veteran quarterbacks and they just fit so well, and it's just a
Mhm.
perfect fit. And like there's a reason Brissett flourishes in a system where Kyler Murray doesn't. Like and vice versa. We see Daniel Jones flourish in a system where Anthony Richardson didn't. And it's not that these quarterbacks wouldn't succeed given the right opportunity. They're just not in the best fit.
Yeah.
And it's about finding the best fit for these quarterbacks. You got to design your offense for the skill set of quarterbacks. And the NFL never does that. They just set
Mhm.
up an offense and then they make the quarterback change into the system.
Yeah.
I think that's what's broken within the NFL, but it is what
That's
it
a
is.
I feel like
I
that's a
won't.
podcast for off-season talk.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree. We got to get to start sits. We
Write
got to
that
get
down.
to the favorite starts of the week. I'm
Yeah.
over here blabbing.
No, I think that's a good segue for that. Because we're gonna start getting all the news is gonna start coming out now that it's 11:30. So we're gonna have some for sure answers on some guys. But yeah, I mean, like who are some guys that you are really, really high on this week to start?
Um, I want to. So Juwan Jennings is definitely one of my favorite starts this week. I really like the matchup. I like that we're looking at a team. Pearsall obviously out, but as a whole, that secondary in the Colts is not looking good. Sauce Gardner is out for this game. They've been depleted. They've actually adjusted from the second half of the season where this unit was like top tier in the
Yeah.
first half, and they've kind of flip-flopped, and it's just injuries, and I think that they had all the momentum in the beginning of the year and they've been taking L's, and it's a long season, and this defense is not formidable anymore. It's not something that scares me when it comes to pass catchers. And Juwan Jennings has been wide receiver 18 points per game since week 8, and that was with Pearsall, and that's in not great matchups as far as the I guess we're looking at somebody that I could probably see getting 70 yards and a touchdown. And I
Mhm.
think that you can pretty much lock him in as a mid wide receiver 2 this week.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be, Brock Purdy's kind of go-to guy once they get down there, in the red zone. I'm looking that up right now because I'm a little curious. Yeah, he's got 6. He's got the most red zone touchdowns of anybody on the Niners.
Yeah,
So
it's going
love
to be
that.
the Jennings and Kittle show, I think, this week. Obviously, CMC is going to get his, but I think most of the passes are going to these two guys. And he just, yeah, nobody in that secondary really scares me. They're going to have to really concentrate on Kittle. They're going to concentrate on CMC coming out of the backfield. I think that Juwan Jennings is going to be he's going to benefit the most from the situation for sure.
Yeah. Real quick, I had no idea he was so disliked amongst other teams' defenses until that.
He talks a lot of shit. He is definitely a yapper,
Yeah.
a generational yapper.
Yeah. Apparently he's a hoe. That was the best, I think, clip that I've seen all season. And I just feel like we need to bring back calling people hoes again. I feel like that died out for a while.
Honestly, it did for 10 years. Nobody was a hoe. And now I'm seeing everything everywhere. Yeah. The whole year, people have been calling everyone hoes. And it's, hey, I'm for it. I think that in the right context, it's awesome.
Exactly.
Wait, is Juwan Jennings, did he get into a fight last week after the post game?
Me too.
Was he the one that it checked? I feel like he got into somebody grabbed his nuts or something.
Yes,
or
that's where it started. He got punched in the nuts, and then was it? I've never known this man's name until he did that comment. Was Shelby Harris from the Browns? I think.
I think so. I can't. Yeah. Everything's blending together in my brain.
Yeah. Jennings was I guess talking shit while somebody on the Browns defense was being carted off or something. And that's what prompted the whole rant about that. And he was like, I'm surprised he didn't get punched in the face. So love it. I love finding out the tea behind all the stuff that because we would have never known, right? It just as viewers, you would have.
Well, yeah, you want those guys. You want the Steve Smiths on your team. You want the ones that are yapping, the ones that talk stuff, because you got to back it up, and they're going to do everything they can if they have that mentality to do well on the football field, so they can talk that shit.
Yeah, I love it, and he backs it up. So, if you don't like it, make sure he doesn't get in the end zone.
Juwan Jennings, just like the age 27, 28 breakout, got to be in the right position, right situation. But a jag all his career and then, falls into a great situation and is eaten. So I love it.
Love that. Who else do you got? You got a running back on here that I also agree. I think is going to have a really good day.
Yeah, so another guy that I'm starting right now is Chase Brown. Obviously, we touched on the fact that Tua is – sorry. Yeah, I'm still – yeah, we're talking about Chase Brown against Miami. Yep. So Tua's out. Quinn Ewers is starting. It's going to be, I think, an ugly game. I know that obviously from a season-long standpoint, Cincinnati struggled. Most of the season they were out with Burrow. They had all these injuries. Mm-hmm. I think that they're going to be throwing a lot, and they're going to throw early and on and fast. And I don't think that Quinn Ewers is going to be able to keep up. So I think that for a game script, you want this. Miami has improved on the run D, but hasn't been a formidable unit by any means when it comes to the run D. I think as a season long, they're giving up 129.5 yards at home. I expect that to continue. I think that, we're going to see them down early often, and they're probably going to be handing the ball off. They're probably going to be running the clock down. They're going to be looking at, probably up a touchdown. The only fear that I have is they sit their starters in the second half of the game in the situation. But you got to hope that they get it off to Waddle. They have A-Chain work in the backfield, and it becomes a semi-competitive game. I just love Chase Brown. I think that the game script is really just in his favor right now. And I think that we're looking at Chase Brown probably over 80 yards rushing with at least a touchdown in this game. So I think that he becomes a back end, well, actually a mid-tier wide running back one in this game. I think that we're looking at him producing. He's been producing. Yeah. It's just the game scripts haven't been great for him. And especially in games where they're coming from behind and they're struggling. And I think that this game is going to be the opposite of that.
Well, I think if people hung on to him, because in the beginning of the season, things were rough with Chase Brown. They were really bad. You were definitely upset about where you took him in drafts. But the last part of the season, though, he's really come on, especially, with the receiving yards that he gets too. So I think if you hung on to him, you're probably pretty happy right now. I've got another running back for us. I got Quinshon Judkins against the Bills. Bills are giving up the fourth most fantasy points to opposing teams' running backs and the third most rushing yards per game. And I think, they've got the opposing wide receivers, with both with Cleveland and with Buffalo, are really, really low numbers for receivers. And then the Bills obviously are giving up a ton of points. The last I saw with the weather was that it was going to be pretty windy there in Cleveland. So I just don't know. I just really think that Sanders should really be giving it to Judkins and letting him to kind of do that dirty work, make it a ground and pound kind of game there in Cleveland. And then I got Waller versus Cincinnati. I know we already kind of touched on this a little bit, but you know what they say like this year is that like Trey McBride is the number one tight end, and the number two is whoever plays the Bengals that week from week to week. I just, like they're giving up the second most fantasy points to opposing teams, tight ends, and it's not even close. It's like 23.4. The next closest team is the Steelers at 17.7. So it's like we're not even like, because I don't know, like when we had Drew Davenport on a few weeks ago, he made a really good point about sometimes you can't always trust those fantasy points against the tight end. But I think with the Bengals, you definitely can a little bit more. And he has 6 red zone receptions. He's converted all 6 into touchdowns. That's going to be kind of enough for me to give the thumbs up on Waller today. Like if you have him, I think you play him. If you have another option, take a look at it seriously because, like you're relying on him to get in the end zone. But I don't know, man, it's also like, I know we've gone back and forth on it, but it's like, it's also the playoffs. Like you gotta.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been starting Waller all year, and you likely have another option if you have Waller on your team. It's iffy, but I think I would probably have Waller as like a top 8 guy this week, and it is what it is. That's what you want from a tight end position. If you don't have McBride, even Bowers has been a little frustrating, obviously, with the quarterback situation over there. Turns out he's not quarterback proof. It is what it is. So there's some guys that are, there's some guys that aren't. I think that Waller is probably safe if you don't have I would start Waller if I didn't have McBride, Bowers, Kittle.
That might be it.
If you want to throw the bone to Fannin, or I think that's probably it though. I think I might start Waller over guys like Fannin, to be honest with you.
I'm looking. I don't know that I'm looking at all the other options, and I think that's probably where I feel the most.
I like Theo Johnson in this matchup. I like Theo a lot against Minnesota. I think that he's probably going to get a touchdown in this game. But yeah, I think Waller, you're feeling good if you don't have one of the top 3-4 guys right now.
Theo Johnson, one of my biggest, I think, I don't want to say wins, but like guys that I've been happy to have on a lot of my teams this year. I like Theo Johnson a lot.
I mean, yeah, everybody that comes from that program is just you got to take them somewhere. Even if they're sitting behind guys for a couple of years. Like I think that it's a lock for, like who else came from there? Bretton Strange was on that team. They produce tight ends. So you just see them. They're NFL ready when they get to the league for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Jim's got a question for us over here. Did we talk Dallas yet? Is Pickens still startable? Pickens has had 2 really bad games against Detroit, Minnesota, 8.7, 6.3. And the Chargers are not an easy team to get on with wide receivers. So I don't know. I feel like you have to start him, right? Do you have to start him? Because I feel like you kind of have to, but I don't know that you're.
I mean, yeah, you essentially took Pickens like in the 5th or 6th round of a dynasty startup, or even if you're looking at redraft, he was probably going, especially if you drafted towards the end of the offseason, he was probably going in the 3rd or 4th round, landing on Dallas. So you have to start him. I don't think you have realistically a couple options on there that you would probably start over Pickens, but Pickens has always been this guy. And it's not like, we knew what Pickens is, and I know that he has these moments where he flashes this elite talent that he can probably be that guy on a team as the number one option, but he also has like dull moments where he pieces together 3 or 4 games where it's like he's Mike Williams. Like Mike Williams in his peak career could be like the wide receiver one of any team, any game of the season. You just didn't know when that game was going to come.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but I can't sit Pickens right now, especially in this matchup. I think that there's so many little implications of this matchup, and I think that both these teams, even though the Chargers have gone back to like the run first offense, and that's something I'm going to get into in a little bit. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think that Dallas is going to have to throw, and I think that we're looking at a shootout this week.
Yeah, I mean, so does Vegas. Vegas has it at 50.5 for the line today, the over-under on that game. The only thing that kind of like made me think, oh, like lower expectations a little bit, just the Chargers have just been like, they are the number one. They're giving up the fewest points to opposing teams' wide receivers. I actually had Dak on my sit list today, just for, the same reasons against, that defense. He only had 12 points against the Vikings last week. Chargers are allowing even fewer points to opposing teams' quarterbacks. So I didn't love that. I do like him if you can get through today and get to week 17 with Dak, because they're playing Washington. And I think that's like a great matchup for them. Yeah. But do you have anybody else real quick? I know we're kind of getting real close to that noon time, but any other little honorable mentions, anybody else that you think is worth a quick mention here to start?
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're going to go to this matchup again, but I have Amari and Hampton as a must start in this game just because of the fact that we're looking at him having over 15 touches the first 2 games. I think they've been easing him in to this situation where in, third game back right now, I think that he's going to have the floodgates open. He's probably going to get the lion's share of the carries today. And we're looking at a team in the Cowboys that have allowed the 6th most PPR points to running back. I think that it's just going to be a run heavy just because of the fact that, that this is the way the offense has been going and shifting, and if you have an opponent that's giving up so many yards on the ground as the Cowboys are, it's just a lock for him to at least look at, a pretty productive stat line, and what he does with that. I think he's a top tier running back against a really bad offense or a really bad defense right now. So I think that, if you have Hampton, obviously he's been kind of up and down a little bit. You can't sit him this week. I think that he's just a smash start at this point. I'm looking around right now. I'm looking at these matchups. I know that you have a couple more guys that you want to start.
Well, especially for that game. Oh, sorry.
No, I think that, you and I both agree.
Yeah.
I think that we're looking at a JJ game. I think that Justin Jefferson is going to hit pay dirt this week. I think that he's going to get over 80 yards in receiving. And that doesn't sound too luscious and sexy when it comes to Justin Jefferson. But like when you're looking at his season as a whole, 80 yards in the touchdown is like heaven sent for this guy right now. Yeah, hit me with somebody else that you love this week, and then let's go into the sits if you want to touch on that.
Just real quick from the Cowboys game, if you have to start a Chargers wide receiver, I like Ladd this week. Dallas has given up over the past few games to Amon-Ra, J-Mo, over 100 each. Gibbs even got 70 yards receiving in that game. Rashee Rice got 92 yards against them. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith had 110 and 89 yards respectively. And then you got Bowers even had 72 against them. So if you've got to start one of those, I know Ladd's not had a great couple weeks or so, but I do like him today. I like DK Metcalf today too. Last 3 or 4 games had 14 plus fantasy points. Detroit's just atrocious against the wide receiver this year, and they've got a ton of injuries on their secondary. Inside, we gave you the stats on Rodgers earlier about the Lions facing them in his career. So I like DK also this week. But who are we sitting? Let's bring it down a little bit. Who are we not on this week?
One of my big sits is Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence coming off of a really big game last week and then had a really good game the week before that. So I think a lot of people are pretty comfortable starting Trevor Lawrence. They probably have him in their lineups, and you might not have another option, to be honest. But if you do, I don't think I would fault you for shifting over to a guy like Dart, or, I think that I would probably even start who's like an on cusp guy. I think it's tough because you want to start Trevor Lawrence, but we're looking at a really tough matchup. And the Broncos, I have them ranked. They rank 6th in DVOA. They allow the 5th fewest points per game to quarterbacks. And Lawrence hasn't really done well against good defenses. He's been kind of beaten up on bad defenses. And I think that we're looking at a lower scoring game. I watched the film against Texans that he had, I think week 10. And it's not pretty, it's really tough. And that's a similar defense that they're going to see in the Broncos this week. I don't think that he's going to fall flat, but I expect an interception. I think that they're going to get a takeaway from him. I think that he's going to fail to get over 200 yards in this game. I think it's probably going to be like, if he does, the low end of 200, like he might hit 200. But it's just not going to be a sexy fantasy, outcome for him this week. And it's tough because it's hard to sit him right now. It is hard to say, coming off of last week that Trevor Lawrence is a sit. But I think if you're going to sit him, this is the week that you want to do it. This is going to be an ugly game. This is going to be like a 16-17 type of game. Like, I think Bo Nix is going to have a turnover. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a turnover. I expect some defensive points. I think Harvey's going to have a big game. I think Etienne might actually do well against his defense. So if you're going to be playing any DFS, I think that, I would sit the quarterbacks in this matchup, but I would definitely smash the running backs. And if there's any defense involved, I think that Broncos and Jags both are good plays this week.
Yeah. I'm sitting Genty this week against Houston. Really, any of your Raiders, I'm probably sitting any of them against. God, Brock Bowers is a tough one to sit, but maybe. Anyway, with Genty, right? Since week 11, he hasn't had more than 50 rushing yards. He had 1 receiving touchdown during that time, 0 rushing touchdowns. He's right now, Houston is only allowing an average of 92.7 rushing yards per game, 3rd fewest. I think another topic that we might want to talk about in the offseason is taking rookies who are drafted on teams with bad O-lines and why that's not ideal, because I think we all kind of got burned, on that. You hear like Genty, once in a lifetime talent, all this stuff. And it just has not worked out. And I don't think it's because of a lack of talent or anything like that on the part of Genty. I think this is mostly just the Raiders and their O-line sucks. So something we might want to like dive deeper into in the off season, for that. I also don't like Waddle this week against the Bengals. Just like DJ Turner has been so good at like limiting those opposing wide receivers this season. I don't know what that Ewers Waddle connection is going to look like that. And I just don't know that I'm willing to risk it this week. I think you're right. I think Ewers is probably going to come out and it's going to be a lot better offense than what we have seen with Tua. Although that being said, I don't know that this is really anything more than like an NHN game, really. And then hopefully my Waller, pick comes true and he gets in the end zone for one. But that's kind of what I'm just worried with Waddle there, is that the Bengals, for as bad as they have been, DJ Turner has been really great for them.
He's going to get the shadow treatment for sure. Yeah. So it is about how long yours can stay without getting touched in the pocket. And I don't know what his pocket awareness is going to be. He struggled in college, like I watched him thoroughly in college, and I never saw him as an NFL quarterback. But, when teams struggle this much, we see it all the time. We saw Mac Jones get replaced by Bailey Zappi. We see these teams that sometimes the quarterback just goes too far.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all those knocks to the head had something to do with it, but Tua is not right. Yeah. Mentally or physically or anything. I think that, this is going to be good for him. He's
Mhm.
got to get a new change of scenery. He's got to go sit behind somebody, sitting behind like a Stafford or somebody,
Yeah.
somebody that carries himself well and prepares for the game and understands how to stretch their career out. I
Yep.
think that um, I feel for Tua, but I think anybody might be a slight upgrade when it comes to his decision making and overall just mental makeup right now, and that's unfortunate, but
Yeah. I feel like I need to take notes on like so many things that we should do shows on in the off season because I feel like that's one too. Like where should Tua go? What should his future look like? Just things to
oh
talk about.
yeah, just like a quarterback landing show, like
Yeah.
that would be a good special where we, obviously prediction is not anybody's forte. You're gonna hope for the best situation possible, but yeah, there's quite a few teams where we were looking at Kyler probably moved
Yep.
and
Kyler's
Tua and
Tua.
um, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be looking for a new team
Mhm.
next year that not a lot of people saw. Like not a
Yeah.
lot of people envisioned Kyler and Tua, being on a different team as soon as this year. But it is what it is. So I have another sit.
Who do you have?
I picked a couple guys that have been doing very well in the
Mhm.
past couple of weeks, and it's hard to sit these guys. But I think Tony Pollard is probably a sit against Kansas City.
Mhm.
I think that Pollard has been a or running back one the last couple of weeks, but Kansas City defense is for real.
Are.
Even though we're looking at a down year for them as a team in general, but that defense is very serious when it comes to the run. And it's going to be a tough game script too. I think that, this is a perfect matchup for Cam Ward. I think that there's going to be a shootout without Mahomes here. I think that they're probably looking at a very competitive game. I think that Tony Pollard would benefit from it being a blowout. I think that he would do really well. But I think it's going to be a defensive game for Kansas City, and I think they're going to keep them in the game by putting pressure on Cam Ward. I think that he's not going to have a lot of time in the pocket. I think that there's going to be stacked boxes. I think it's going to be tough for Tony Pollard as a whole. And that's just, even with Mahomes, we're looking at the fifth fewest points per game to running backs. So I think that the defense is going to step up in this game, and I think Tony Pollard is a full fade because of it.
I agree. I mean, those guys have a lot of pride, and I think even with Mahomes going down, their playoffs, out the window, first time in forever. I still think they're going to show up, and they're not going to want to just kind of give up and lay down for anybody. So, especially not the Titans.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So Big Country wants to know: are we starting May over Burrow? I'm not. I'm not benching May for anybody at this point. Like I'm putting him. I've got a couple Lamar May teams, and I've started May for weeks. So I don't think I'm sitting him at all. I think you'd have to sit Burrow.
No,
I mean,
I'm starting May over Burrow pretty
yeah.
easily, especially in a Sunday night game against the Ravens. I think that there's a lot going on there. Burrow's not playing for anything. Not to say that he's not going to compete and do well, but there's no incentive for him to blow teams out, or
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that you want to play the quarterbacks that have implications, that have this possible outcome of being in the playoffs. You want to just target the guys that are playing for something.
Mhm.
I'm not saying Burrow's not going to do well. It's just if I'm in the fantasy playoffs, I want guys that are in the playoffs themselves. I want guys that are making it or breaking it in a game, because I need that incentive on the player's side so that they are doing absolutely everything. I'm not saying that players take plays off, but they take plays off. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Exactly. I've got one more real quick, and it's really just a group of people. It's the pass catchers in the Bills Browns game. I don't like any of them. Do you know the two teams that have given up the fewest passing yards per game this season? You want to guess?
Um, I'm thinking. I mean, I know the Broncos are fifth. I know that the Jags are up there. Um, it's going to be a surprising team that, man, is it Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland and the Bills, both of them. So I don't like it on either side. Myles Garrett has 1.5 more sacks needed to break that season single record. I would not have put him doing it against Josh Allen on my bingo card, but it's only 1.5. So I think that's a possibility that happens today. I think that's an ugly game, like we talked about earlier. I think that's more of a ground and pound game, so I don't trust anybody on either side. Harold Fannon's probably the only one that I would fire up if I had to, but
Yeah,
that was
I'm
it.
with that. I think you're right. I think that we're going to be looking at. I mean, Josh Allen had a great game against the Patriots. I don't know.
Oh, he probably does, and he probably runs in a few touchdowns. Like I wouldn't be surprised about that. But as far as him throwing, I don't
Yeah,
like Shakir, Coleman, whoever else they got, Josh Palmer. I don't like any of those guys this week. No,
yeah.
no, thank
Would you
you.
start? Would you start Michael Pittman or Khalil Shakir this week?
Ooh, Pittman, I think. I think I'd have to start Pittman. I just don't like. I don't like. Yeah, for all the reasons that we just said with the Cleveland thing. I know Rivers kind of had more of a connection with Downs last week. I still think I'm going Pittman there.
Yeah.
Now
All
that
right.
he's had more time too with that offense, and this is week 2 of that. Yeah, I'm still going with Pittman there. Real quick, any DFS bets, anything like that that you want to give? You guys already heard my Waller take 3 point or 300 plus 20 plus 325 for an anytime touchdown for Waller. If you want to get real spicy with it, it's plus 2,500 for 2 or more touchdowns.
Oh, baby. I like that, obviously. What do I like? I like the Omarion Hampton. He's plus 405 over 80 rushing yards. I think that that's a smash right there. I think that, we're looking at a guy that hasn't really been given the opportunity, given the injury, and then coming in as a rookie. But I think that this is the game where you're going to go over 80 rushing yards. And then Quinn Ewers over 10 rushing yards is plus 131. I think that that's going to only improve. I think he's going to be rushed out of the pocket a lot. He's not a runner, but I think that over 10 rushing yards, I like that. I think
He might
that
be today.
he might have to be running a little bit today. So I think that he might be flushed out of the pocket. Doing that 3 or 4 times might get him 10 yards or over. So I think that's a safer bet. I think, well, I don't know if it's safe, but I think I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
I like that. Guys, we've got Maddox coming at you with his Monday Night Football picks for the Indy Niners game. Then we will get you out of here, get you to your lineups to set. Here we go. I really am not sure who he picked.
He's all over the place. Honestly, I have no idea who he picked.
I don't either. He grabbed the Colts first, and then it was like he kind of went to the Niners. I'm not sure. He's taking a nap right now, so I can't ask him. But who knows? He's kind of his interest in doing this has kind of waned a little bit the last 2 weeks. I've had to really kind of like
You got to put like treats in them. You got to like set them up,
yeah,
put like a little kibble in them,
little
and
snack.
see what he does there.
We got one more question real quick, and then we'll get you out of here. Patrick wants to know, Patrick, you've got a cute dog in your picture. He's got 2 QBs. PPR needs 1 or 2 questions. Sorry. PPR needs 1 wide receiver. Waddle, Ibuka, BTJ. He's already starting Waller. A kicker question. We got Reichert versus the Giants, Gonzalez versus Arizona, or Little versus Denver. Ibuka? I know he's been bad, but I think
it's like Waddle's a fade.
Yeah.
BTJ's a fade. I mean, that team is fully healthy now.
Yeah.
So
You got Evans there to draw a little bit more, away from him.
He does better with Evans, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know though. It's like
Yeah. It's week 16. I get it. How can you trust it?
I think I'm gonna go Waddle, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm going Waddle here. I know it's not sexy by any means. I think BTJ is gonna get shadow realmed in this game. Ibuka, it's just been messy the last couple weeks. If that team fully healthy, he needs a touchdown. I think Waddle might at least have a floor of like 4 or 5 catches. What he does with those, I don't know, but I think that Waddle's going to get the volume, and if they're good, it's all dependent on Quinn Ewers. There's a lot riding on this kid, so
I'm gonna go Ibuka just to be a little contrary because we think it's gonna be a shootout. And I think he's too talented. I don't think it continues. I think he's gonna get back to what he was at the beginning of the season. Kickers. Holy cow, have not looked at kickers in forever. Let's see. Let's take this is how how do you pick it?
Kicker guy. I got a kicker guy. Hold on. I'm gonna look.
Where's our girl Linda Lyons when we need her right now?
I know. Kickers is honestly, there's a lot riding on. Are they kicking in a dome? Are we playing against a defense that doesn't allow a lot of touchdowns? There's a lot of factors that go into kicker.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like a dome usually. We got Gonzalez versus Arizona. Those are both domes. So I like that. I don't know. Let's see who's Cam Little's getting you 8.9 points per game. Where Gonzalez is getting you 9.5. So not a huge difference there. And then where's our boy Reichert? But he's in the elements though.
Riker's in the elements, yeah.
So don't love that. That's an automatic no for me. And I think that is also supposed to be that's one of the lowest scoring games according to the lines. Brought to you by DraftKings. I'm going to go Gonzalez, I think. Because of the dome.
I'm looking. Hold on. What do we got? We got Reichard. Nope. Gonzalez. Yeah, I'm going Gonzalez. I don't love it in general, though. I don't like any of these guys.
Petition to outlaw fantasy with defenses and kickers.
I like the wrinkle in redraft. If you're playing dynasty with kickers, and that's awful. I mean, in general, I think kickers got to go. I know Linda's not going to like that, but you got it. We got to just like, there's too many variables, and there's not any. Like you can look at other positions and you can really kind of like study them, and kickers, it is by chance. I think, like you want an offense that scores a lot of points. Outside of that, whatever, like there's
exactly.
You got to just like flip a coin for most kickers.
Guys, that is going to do it for us. Patrick, I hope that helped you. I hope everybody that was watching had a good time today. Hope that helped you with your lineups. We are going to be getting you guys on out to your team, set those lineups, get those last minute picks in. Might tell everybody where they can find you online and what you're working on.
Yeah, so obviously I am at Nerdboi Takes on Twitter. I do the Dynasty DGens Discord. I have been out of pods for a month now. I am not doing well. That's as high as my shoulder can go right there. That's like pretty high actually compared to speaking.
It's like you're doing PT on the show. I've
been doing PT 3 times a week right now, and it's honestly become a big part of my life, unfortunately. But yeah, I probably will be opening the Dynasty show back up, and obviously we're coming to a close on a lot of the shows for the season. But that just is going to open up Dynasty stuff, and we're going to be doing rookie rankings for the 26 class. I'm going to get with our Devi host, and we're going to really just have a combined ranking, and probably roll that out in the next couple months to try to get you guys started and a head start, essentially, for all your rookie drafts coming up next year.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again for hanging out with us today. Everybody, have a great week. Good luck on your fantasy playoffs. We'll be back next week, 11 a.m. Here on the Sunday Tailgate. Until then, see you guys later.